Well, look what the internet drugged back in. It's me. Hi, how are you? My name is Brittany McLean. I am your Celebrity Pro Makeup Artist, and I am here for you. I try to be at least every week for a makeup video. How have you guys been? How is everyone? I hope you're all doing really, really good. I will tell you, it has been a interesting start to the new year. One I wasn't expecting. It wasn't necessarily bad, it was just different, I guess. I don't know. First things first, I started out with my skin is already prepped and my eyes are prepped. And I'm just gonna be doing a look that I have been doing lately. It's just been like a go-to look. It's been pretty easy. I'm gonna dive right in. I'm gonna dive right in there. So life has been hard lately. Like, if I'm just being honest, it's been a little rough. It's been a rough start to the year. You know, here's the thing. We have a life bingo card every year. The bingo card starts over. Totally didn't see that coming. The things I went through, okay? Having kids is hard. Co-parenting with an ex is hard sometimes. And it doesn't have to be hard, but sometimes it is. So I'm not gonna go into all the details. I can't, because I don't think it would be smart. But I just wanna say that do what's best for your kids.
Get your shit together.
Do what's best for your kids, okay? Do right by them. Anyway, I digress. Today, later on, I am going to be volunteering my time with an organization that I'm really excited about partnering up with twice this year. And this organization is called New Friends, New Life. And they are around to help people, women specifically, who have been victims of human trafficking or any kind of sex trafficking. So that is something that is near and dear to my heart. Most of you guys know I assisted with hair and makeup for a film called 8 Days. And that film was like a really cool experience because it taught me something that I didn't know was happening. This was back in maybe like 2015 or so. It was a while back. And I didn't know a whole lot about human trafficking at that time. And I guess I just didn't realize, like, I mean, I had a daughter, you know, but I guess I don't know. I was still very young, very naive. I didn't know like a lot of these things existed and that were happening right under our noses. And of course, social media was like, yeah, it was big. It was getting to be like a big deal. Obviously, it had been a big deal, but like, you know, like news and stuff being plugged into social media. And so I got an offer to team up with this casting crew. And there's a really cool story behind this. And actually the directors, I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name, Yako, and his wife, they are amazing advocates for human trafficking because his sister was involved with a human trafficking situation, unfortunately. And so with that being said, he wanted to create a film targeted towards bringing awareness by utilizing another person's true story on their experience with human trafficking. They were on the Steve Harvey show. They talked a little bit about, you know, their different inspirations for making the film and things like that. So it was really cool to see Yako tell this story about his experience while filming. They needed a sleazy motel to film. So they actually, because again, they have a lot of connections and things like that, they contacted the Department of Homeland Security and they asked them, they're like, hey, do you have a sleazy hotel we can use to film? Like, we need the sketchiest place you got. Basically gave him the sleaziest motel they could find and said, here, you can film here. And so after some organizing and talking to people at the motel, they started filming. And when they started filming, it was pretty interesting because they were able to actually utilize the Department of Homeland Security. Like, they actually had them play their role in like the movie to do this rescue bust of like this character. And so they ended up doing like this rescue scene but the camera person, the camera operator in the motel room said, we have to like switch gears. Like we need to like stop production right now. Yako sees the Department of Homeland Security. They're backing up. They're like acting kind of interesting. Like he's not really sure what's happening, but he's like observing and he's just kind of taking it all in. And he said, I just see them move their huddle like 2 doors down. He was like, that's not our scene. Like that's not where we're supposed to be filming. I paid to break this door down. I didn't pay to break that door down too. But he just kind of like stood idly by. He was like, let me just observe. So he was observing the scene, and lo and behold, the Department of Homeland Security had gotten a call from the higher ups and were like, hey, like, you need to go rescue this girl. She's been missing for 16 months and she's in the room like 2 doors down from where you're filming. And so all of that transpired. A whole like actual rescue mission happened while they were on scene. And it was really interesting. Like that is definitely like meant to be. Sex trafficking, human trafficking is like a huge deal in Texas. I know it's like that in multiple places, but specifically Texas because the highway roads are longer and they stretch 4 miles. And it's a really scary world out there. I just found passion in working with that type of work through that film. And I just thought about how powerful that was when Yako was explaining all of that. And like, he says later on that whole rescue mission, actual rescue mission took 1.5 hours and that they went back to filming like right after they were done. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm glad that there was a rescue mission out of it. I'm glad that nobody was seriously injured or hurt during that time either. That's always like a scary situation to be in, you know? But I highly advise a lot of my clients, especially when we worked in a salon, we were trained on human trafficking and like what to look for and things like that. So there's certain hand signals, you know, the palm, like there's all these things that you should educate yourself on when it comes to human trafficking. But it definitely seems like it was a meant to be situation. And then the fact that they were filming for something like that, like while they were, it just blows my mind, the synchronicity part of that aspect. But there's nothing more than knowing you're at the right place at the right time than that. So I just thought that was like a really cool story to tell. Keep your eyes head on swivel, my husband says. But keep your eyes constantly shifting all the time. Always be observant. And I hate to say that because as a mom of 3 girls, like the last thing that I think women should have to be is scared in this world, especially women, but like even men are going missing too. And I don't know, like there's just been this strange phenomena around, I know around Texas. I don't know if it's really anywhere else, but there's a lot of missing men around here. And they have been talking about how these men are going missing after stopping on a highway or like to fix a vehicle or leaving a bar or all these different things. And they can't determine where these men are going. And so they're kind of confused because they're like, what, you know, like what would prompt somebody to just disappear and leave? They don't. Men don't just disappear and leave. Not usually. It's teenage girls that might run away or might be like looking for something else or trying to get away from their bad situation. But, you know, for grown men to just up and leave and not really give an explanation is kind of weird. So needless to say, sex trafficking and human trafficking can happen to men and women. It does not discriminate. And it's unfortunate because a lot of kids go missing and you never want it to be you. You never want it to be your children or your niece or your nephew or anybody that you love. And it's a really hard world out here. And I teach my girls all the time, you know, there's always like the stranger danger situation, like never let your guard down, you know, you can't ever be too sure of anybody. And, you know, I know my husband and I think a little differently about trust. He trusts like anyone until they give him a reason not to. And I tend to be the opposite. I'm pretty like, I'm observant. I don't judge anybody, but like I definitely take in the vibes, right? Like I can read the energy in the room. I can, like, if I'm not getting a good feeling, like, I don't know. Never go anywhere alone. Tell my daughters that as well. They're still very young. They're not going out alone. with their friends or anything like that. We're not leaving them places. You know, we can't do that anymore. It's just not safe. So yeah, we're just not doing that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about really quick was this new blush trend. So you can kind of see on this side, I'm using the Camo Liquid Blush by e.l.f. and this is in the shade Pinky Promise. It's a really pretty color, but that's this color here. And one thing I've been loving is like buffing it inside my like eye, on the like outer part of my eye, and buffing it out. And then I've seen people like take it and like just like buff it up in here and keep it like higher up on the cheekbone. And the reason I like this a lot more than like previous where we used to just put it here only is because I feel like it accentuates the shape of the face and it gives a little lift. I feel like it doesn't drag the face down. I feel like it actually lifts it up. And I just think it looks really pretty. So if you have enough eye real estate to like where you want to do that, do it, because it's pretty. It is so pretty. I have my little disposable here, but I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take a little bit on my brush. I've just been seeing this so much and I'm like, I love this. And I'm just kind of doing a couple of dots because it doesn't take a lot. It takes very little of this stuff. A little goes such a long way. But I am quickly, because you kind of have to work with it rather quickly. It's a liquid. And I start here and then I kind of start mapping out and I kind of buff and I work my way into my eye, on my eyelid, and kind of just like that area. Now, don't freak out because I know it seems like a lot, but just wait. You see how pretty it just like buffs out? It's so nice. I like the formula a lot. And I even like to go a little bit under my eye, just a little bit, just a kiss of color underneath. And I know it might seem like I might be blush blind, but I promise I'm not. At least I don't think so. But I love blush. I love blush. I love a good color. And then we're gonna do it with we're gonna do what Miss Charlotte Tilbury taught us, and we're gonna take a little bit of that blush across our nose and across our forehead. I feel like bringing that color in just helps to kind of give something to the overall like vibe of the face. Let me put lashes on. Let me finish the look because I think it'll make more sense when I actually have like lashes on and stuff. But if you feel like you get too much, because look, I still have like a lot left on my applicator. I feel like I have a lot of product left on my applicator, so you can save it for later. You can just toss it out, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna apply lashes. I'm gonna get a lip on. If you feel like you're blush blind, you maybe have too much, you can take your beauty blender and do what I do. And I just kind of like press it into the skin a bit more. But do you see how it kind of brings like a V shape? I don't know. It makes sense to me. I like it, but do whatever you want. And then the other thing is, if you feel like you have too much, you can always puff a little bit of that powder, whatever your favorite powder is, just to really like, I don't know, just like blush it out, buff it out, powder it out. I don't know, just to help mute it, just to help mute the tone a little bit. Highlighter is just like my Jimmy Jam. I love highlighter. I've been going like more matte lately, but I don't know. I feel like highlighter is something I can't get away from, especially because my skin tends to be a little more on the dry side. So I want it to look a little bit more dewy, a little bit more nice. I don't know. I'm taking my favorite highlighter, and with that same blush brush, I'm just like tapping along my cheek area and kind of where my brow is. And I feel like with it, when I do that, it just kind of like, again, just ties everything in. You don't have to be extra like I am, but I don't know. It's just giving skin. It's giving skin. And I want my makeup to look like skin. So, but do whatever you want. I almost forgot my eyebrows. Can't forget those. I'll be so happy when I can like put my bangs down and they don't look like this. Because why? Why did I cut my bangs? Ugh, terrible choices. So note to self, if you ever think about cutting your bangs because you're going through something, you just don't want to recognize what it is you're going through, just say no, friends. Just say no. I'm not done yet. I still need my lipstick. But where's the UPS person? I thought my MAC order was going to be delivered by now, but I don't see her outside. I may go look before. I'm going to go look. Because I ordered some new lipsticks and I needed to like re-up on some things. But anyways, I digress. Let me go brush my teeth. And I'll be back. Okay, so for reference, this is the final look. I put Velvet Teddy on and BFF3 lip liner by ColourPop, but the Cool Teddy and the Warm Teddy I think are going to be different than Velvet Teddy, obviously. But I put on just the normal Velvet Teddy with that lip liner. And this is kind of like the vibe I've been going for lately. And yeah, this is the final look. What do we think? Do we like the blush moment? Do we feel like it's like a kiss of color, but like buffed up into the lip? Like, I just love that. Buffed up into the brow a little. I don't know. I like that trend. For me, I just think it works really nicely. It's beautiful. It's not too much. A perfect look for some sort of special event, but I don't know. I'm feeling it. What do you think? I will update you guys on how everything went with New Friends, New Life next week. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye.